Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters, where we live stream every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Um, I want to welcome everybody that's new, all of our followers. We appreciate you. I want to talk a little bit about how you can find out more about the work we do. My name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center where we teach people all over the world how to understand behavior through working with animals. And we do that through our live streaming services. And you can find out more about our information on our website, where we have our services, our memberships, our webinars, our online events, which we have a couple of events coming up. You can always contact me personally through my email at Lara, Lara, at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. We also have a blog, which we write to and help people understand behavior with their animals. We focus on the science of behavior called applied behavior analysis, and we make it we make the science very easy to understand for everybody that is working with animals and wanting to teach new behaviors, change behaviors. You can always contact me. I answer each and every one of our emails. Um, and I want to mention that we have launched our new service called the drop-in classes. They start this Tuesday night, and you may want to stay tuned and listen to this live stream because I'll be giving a giveaway for somebody to be able to attend our first drop-in class, which is happening Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned. The topic of this morning's live stream is on antecedent arrangement. And before I get started with that, I just want to make mention, I want to thank each and every one of our followers, especially in our viewers, for their condolences of the passing of Jelly Bean. I don't want to talk too much about this or I'm never going to get through this live stream. But all of us, all the staff here at the Animal Behavior Center is reading each and every one of your condolences, and we thank you. It has been a very tough week. So let's talk about antecedent arrangement. So I was on the phone last night with both of my sisters, and one who's attending here. Good morning, everybody. I see Sheila on here. Sheila was asking me, she's like, well, so what's the topic of your Coffee with the Critters tomorrow morning? And I said, antecedent arrangement. And my other sister, Dina, who was sitting here, looked at me and said, what the hell does that mean? So this is something, Noodle in the background, this is something we work on all the time. And so first, let me start with antecedent, defining antecedent. The science of applied behavior analysis happens in everybody's everyday life. When you understand how to use it, it can make your life so much better in so many different ways. It's using B.F. Skinner's laws of behavior to change behavior and to just create a very happy lifestyle that you can have for the rest of your life, because B.F. Skinner states that, or stated that, one of the main forms of behavior control today is through coercion, which means a form of negative punishment, or negative reinforcement, which means pretty much do it or else. So to get back to antecedent arrangement, a lot of us that follow applied behavior analysis know a lot of this follows the antecedent behavior consequence, hence the name, the Animal Behavior Center, ABC. An antecedent is a stimulus that happens before a behavior, such as, perfect example right behind me, I started talking, Noodle started doing this screech that he's screeching. I tried to do an antecedent arrangement before this live stream started, which was I gave him a foraging toy um, that obviously I did not place in the correct spot. I should have placed it a little closer to where he is because he's responding to the sound of my voice. So we can arrange antecedents, something that happens right before a behavior, to hopefully get a desired behavior. For example, Snow's bed, Snow, our deaf and blind dog, her bed is in my bedroom where she loves to be. So I placed her bed in the bedroom before this live stream started to prevent her from searching for me during the live stream. Um, I placed a foraging toy in Noodle's enclosure before the live stream started to hopefully get him to forage instead of doing what he's doing during the live stream. So, another example of an antecedent and antecedent arrangement is the doorbell rings, dog barks. What's the antecedent to the behavior? The behavior is the dog barks. What is the antecedent? The doorbell rang. And these antecedents can be immediate and they can be distant. We're going to focus more today on the immediate. An example of a distant antecedent towards behavior, and these antecedents can be cues to us if we pay attention. So Rocky, our Moluccan cockatoo, does these flips in his enclosure. And I know through experience, the more those flips happen, if I don't rearrange the environment and redirect behavior, I know what's going to happen soonish. It may be days, it may be a week, but we have already modified this behavior, which is the screaming. Those flips are anticipatory behaviors, meaning he sees something he wants and he can't get to. I know that is a distant antecedent to an undesired behavior. The undesired behavior is the screaming is going to start. If I don't interject and rearrange that, redirect that behavior of him flipping, I know the screaming is going to start. I don't want the screaming to start. I don't want to see the flips happening because they are both signs of stress. So we can arrange the environment to make the desired behavior easier to happen. And we will work with a lot of antecedent arrangement because we want the desired behavior to happen. And we want to be able to reinforce that desired behavior. And the easier we rearrange the environment to make delivery of a reinforcer for the desired behavior to happen, the quicker it's going to happen. So let me give you, in animals learn, when reinforcement is delivered, they will figure it out. They will figure out, why is this reinforcement being delivered? Why am I attaining this reinforcer? And once they understand that, if it's a desired reinforcer, and reinforcers are so much more than food, the faster the behavior will happen. And that is the animal manipulating its environment to attain the reinforcer. And that is what we want. Learning starts happening, and then we can start shaping behavior, the desired behavior to happen longer and longer periods of time. I like to give examples, and I like to give examples of human behavior, how it works, because I don't know any person that doesn't know people. So that is my gateway to reaching to you through understanding. And then I like to give a couple different examples of with different species of animals. So let's say all these antecedents can be cues. It's up to us, if we're paying attention, to be able to identify them, because these animals are communicating, and they're communicating through behavior. And do we understand what that behavior looks like, such as a dog sleeping, head perks up, ears perk up? That's behavior. That's an antecedent to a behavior. That's a behavior. It's also an antecedent to the next behavior. Is the dog going to start barking? Do you want the dog barking? And if you don't, you can cue it to do something else. So let me give an example with an antecedent arrangement to redirect behavior, modify behavior. And it also can depend on the animal's history of reinforcement, which means its learning history. This is why I tell people, don't just sit and wait for the behavior to quote unquote work itself out, because it's going to work itself out. It's just probably not going to be the direction that you want it to. And the longer the animal practices an undesired behavior, the stronger that behavior gets. And then we need to come in and counter condition that behavior, which means retrain. I want to try to prevent counter conditioning. And the reason why is because the animal has already learned a reinforcer for a particular behavior and an antecedent that cues that particular behavior. Is that a behavior that's desirable for us? I want the behavior to be desirable for both me and the animal, because it needs to be desirable for us both, because I have to live with that animal. I have to take care of that animal, and I want to live with that animal, and I want to take care of that animal. And the happier we both are as a team, the happier its life's going to be, and the happier my life's going to be. So the history of reinforcement, the learning history, it's not that the longer the undesired behavior happens that we can't change it, because we can. It's usually the longer it takes us to change it, but not near as long as what it took the animal to learn that undesired behavior in the first place. There is no behavior that happens for no reason. Every behavior has a purpose and a function for that animal, or it would not happen. It's up to us to identify what the function is of that behavior. WTF, what the function? What's the reinforcer behind the behavior? When we identify the reinforcer behind the undesired behavior, we can change it and deliver that reinforcer for an alternate behavior. The reason I said I don't want to counter condition is because once the animal already learns that it can earn a reinforcer for a desired behavior for it, undesired behavior for us, is we can change it. But if we stop delivering reinforcement for the ultimate behavior, the likely it's going to go back to the undesired behavior. Then it becomes management. That is history of reinforcement. That is why I pay attention to that. So using antecedent arrangement to change behavior. Let me give you an example with a kid. Okay, so you have a kid that, even though I don't have kids, but I know people that have kids, you have a child that you want it to help with the chores. You want, okay, let's use Snot Nose Johnny. He is my example that I use in all of my writing. Snot Nose Johnny gets off the bus. You want him to take out the trash. He doesn't take out the trash. He doesn't like to take out the trash. What's in it for Johnny to take out the trash? Just take a look at his room. He obviously doesn't mind trash. Gets off the bus. You've asked him to take out the trash. You can rearrange the environment, antecedent arrangement, to make it likely that Johnny takes out the trash by when he walks in the front door, trash can sitting right there. That's antecedent arrangement. And it's extremely important to identify what reinforcer is going to be delivered to Snot-Nosed Johnny for doing the desired behavior. You have sat the trash right in front of him. He takes out the trash, takes it to the curb. And we're talking about this in our memberships, one of the four main factors of reinforcer effectiveness is immediacy, meaning the quicker the the reinforcer, the positive reinforcer is delivered for the desired behavior, the more likely it is to happen again, especially in the shaping process, which means reinforcing small approximations towards the desired behavior. Forget the jargon. Listen to the example. Antecedent arrangement, trash cans right there. Boom. That is a cue. Snot-nosed Johnny, take out the trash. Identify the reinforcer you're going to give to snot-nosed Johnny to make it likely for him to take out the trash again. Let's say money. Who doesn't like money? Okay, so 50 cents might not be enough for snot-nosed Johnny to take out the trash again. And reinforcement is only reinforcement if the future rate of that behavior maintains or increases. You want to see that behavior maintain with snot-nosed Johnny or increase, which means he starts going to all the rooms, gathering trash, putting in the trash to take out to the curb. So let's say $2. Got to work on snot-nosed Johnny or we're going to go broke. Let's say $2. That is another one of the four main factors of reinforcer effectiveness. The size of the reinforcer. So the likelihood of snot-nosed Johnny taking out the trash again is probably a lot higher for $2 versus 50 cents. The antecedent arrangement is there. Make it very likely for him to take out the trash by rearranging the environment. A couple other examples. Here's an example of an antecedent arrangement that went the wrong way for me, and I know why it happened. I really want to see what he's looking at. I think he's looking out the window. So is it the tone of my voice that is causing him to screech like that? Because I really don't like that screech. So observation is key. He's looking out the window. My voice has lowered. Let's see if it changes. It's changing. I'm a very excited person, especially when I talk about, can you guys still hear me? Especially when I talk about something I love, which is animals and behavior. I get really excited. My tone of voice drastically increases. The movement of my hands increases. And I'm doing environmental manipulation to see what's the reinforcer behind that behavior. I've lowered my tone of voice. I have moved to talking with just one hand. The other one is permanently sitting on my lap, and I'm using this hand and blocking it with the line of sight just to experiment to see what is reinforcing his behavior of screeching. Another example of antecedent arrangement, here's one that went wrong for me, and I'm currently in this situation. I've created it. I didn't notice it until I'm pretty observant about behavior. I got really busy. This past week has been a tough one for a lot of us. So my attention is elsewhere and not as focused on my work as it should be. Something is happening. Okay. So my tone of voice has changed that behavior, identifying the reinforcer. It's been a tough week for a lot of us. So I have punished Noodle's behavior of stepping up and going to his enclosure. Because my mind has been elsewhere, I have paired the millet, which he loves. Okay, his behavior is redirected and he's foraging, so I might be able to start showing my right hand and increase my tone of voice. What was I talking about? Oh, Noodle. So Noodle loves millet. Millet is a highly desired positive reinforcer that I'm able to use for a lot of different behaviors, to deliver for a lot of behaviors for Noodle. I asked the behavior of him stepping up. I've been so busy this week that I step him up, I take him right back to his enclosure. I know he enjoys being out. He enjoys being flying. He enjoys being with me. He enjoys being on me. He enjoys kissing me. None of that happens when he's in his enclosure. But I can rearrange the environment for the enclosure to be a very desirable place for him to be, especially when he earns reinforcement in his enclosure that he earns nowhere else, which is foraging different types of food, interaction with different objects. So I've unknowingly punished the behavior of him stepping up because I was so busy this week. Step up, go into your enclosure. Step up, go into your enclosure. And then I try to deliver the millet as a positive reinforcer. I have positively punished his behavior of taking the millet because I've paired it with go into your enclosure. I deliver something for the behavior of him going into his enclosure, but he started flying off my hand. And now I started luring him, which means showing him the reinforcer to get the behavior, which I don't like to rely on. And he has stopped stepping up even when he sees the millet. I have now paired the millet with an aversive. The millet is a positive reinforcer, a treat he gets for behavior given, and now he will no longer give the behavior because I have paired the millet with stepping up, going into your enclosure. So now he's become suspicious. He gives me behaviors that look like suspicious, and I could tell you what they are. I can see him in his face. I can see him in his feather placement. So now I have to change that. When we're working with a fearful animal, we can use antecedent arrangement to get the behavior we want. For example, working with a fearful dog, if we have, let's just say we're using a treat that's hard, and I use, because I did this with a very fearful dog, what I've done, he didn't want to come anywhere close to me, but I threw pieces of these harder dog treats to him, um, and he'll take them at a distance, further away from me. So what I did was put 2 metal dishes on a ground, and I'm really good with accuracy at delivering a food reinforcer. Um, and if he would look at me, boom, I would throw a treat, ding, in that dish at a distance. And there's also a cue, that sound of the treat hitting the dish, and he would come over and eat it. This is at a great distance from me. The antecedent array. Then I slowly pull those dishes closer and closer to me until the dog is eating out of my hands. I am staying very still because my movement for a fearful dog could be a positive punisher. I could punish the behavior of that dog coming closer to me the more my arms are moving. So I'm staying very still when the dog is close to me and then giving the dog all the room to get away from me. And then over time, I'm slowly pulling these dishes closer and closer to me to the point where the dog is taking the treat from my hands. You can do the same thing with a fearful animal. I've done it with owls. I've done it with so many animals. Let me give you an example of a fearful parrot in a cage. And you can do this with any species of animal. Antecedent arrangement, I will rearrange the bowls inside that animal's enclosure before the animal goes in it. I will put numerous bowls around the enclosure. So that's the antecedent arrangement, to where when the bird is at the furthest part of the enclosure, I am able to walk by the front, drop a food reinforcer in the in the bowl, and the other key is walk away immediately. The more I do that, the more I see the bird starting to come closer and closer to the front of the cage in anticipation of the conditioned reinforcer, which is me, because I've paired myself with the positive reinforcer. I want to know why this behavior is happening behind me. Because I got to change it. So I have gone way too long. So much for 10 minutes. But these are examples of antecedent arrangement. What I just did is I got a vocalization from him that I can handle. So I tried delivering a reinforcer, which was me whistling back. I don't want to turn around and look at him because that attention could be enough of a reinforcer to reinforce that undesired behavior. Um, so, anyways, on to the contest. Like I said, my live drop in classes are happening. They're being launched and starting this Tuesday night. The first one is this Tuesday night, May 6th, at 7 p.m. Eastern. Our drop in class is I will post different topics. You pick the topic you want. You can join. These are only $30 and they're hour-long sessions where I talk about a topic and you have the opportunity to ask questions and I can guide the topic in relation to the questions, or just talk about the topic. They're only $30 each. They start this Tuesday night. You can find out more information on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. But what I want to hear from you is message me, either direct message here on the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page or on our email, and tell me from today's topic on antecedent arrangement, what have you learned from it and how you can apply it to a situation in your individual life and how this has helped you. I will pick one of those responses and let you in Tuesday night's class at no charge. With that being said, thank you all for attending. Please pay attention to our nonprofit Sam I Can Foundation Facebook page because we're getting ready to make some announcements. And with that, I want to thank you all again for your condolences for the passing of Jelly Bean, which will be, she passed away on Monday. We had to euthanize her. And it touches us all because this isn't so deeply, because this is not only an animal we loved, this was an educator, an ambassador who helped us show the world how to change behavior for the better welfare of how we take care of animals. So I want to thank you, and I will see you guys next Sunday.